And another thing, no, I just wanted to touch base again. It's really quite interesting when you think about the whole the argument. What I was saying in my last post, in my last video, I was talking about um Oshay Jackson's critique and throwing shade and talking smack about both Ghana as a country and Dr. Umar as a person who got citizenship. Now, what I find very interesting, um, I was scrolling through the comments, and I'm glad I saw a lot of people um, taken up for, or I ain't gonna say taken up for. I saw a lot of people that challenged his his presentation. So like the same way that I challenged it, and they were coming up with some very good points. And so I wanted to be like, okay, some of those things, and some of those things were like it was tad bits of information that I didn't know, and some of it was stuff that I did know but I forgot. And I'm like, yeah, these are other great points. So it's real funny how you'll have people say, they throwing shade, they think they being slick with it when they saying, I don't mean no harm, and then whatever coming out their mouth next is harm. I don't mean no disrespect, and everything that come out their mouth after that is disrespect. And it's like that's what he doing. I love the country of Ghana, but and then he starts spewing all that nonsense. But there were people um there were people making some of the same comments and making some of the same points, I should say, that I was making. You have a person who is a one of his businesses is built in tourism. So yeah, if you're trying to promote tourism in your country, you would cozy up to somebody who does tourism as one of their businesses. So again, it sounds like old boy is just jealous. It sounds like he just mad that he can't get the connection. As if I'm like, yo, why don't you just go on over there and do your show or whatever? You do the same thing. But other other comments included, see, this is what happens when you try to go live. Um, so here we go. Now somebody says, how does it even concern you? If you don't subscribe to what they're selling, why don't you just keep it moving? Everybody and or every country has a right to sell themselves to whoever and for whatever reason. How is this a problem that has to be called out? Now as I'm like, yeah, it's really funny that you take this time out of your own schedule. You say it's a busy schedule to make this video criticizing Ghana and its citizenship procedures and Dr. Umar. Like it has nothing to do with you. Why not just stay in your lane? As I mentioned Stevie Wonder. But if you've been following it, then you already know. If you haven't been following it, you may not be aware that a plethora of African American, foundational Black American stars and celebrities. Ja Rule's been over there, Jay Z's been over there, Beyonce's been over there, Ti's been over there, Meek Mill's been over there. Um, and that's just like hip hop and musicians, but they're famous actors, have gone over there. Steve Harvey's been over there. Um, the country is taking its steps to promote itself to African Americans and to use the liaison and the connections that ring bells. This is perfect sense. This is perfect sense. That's how you raise the awareness. So, really, rather than crapping on it, why don't you build your own platform and get yourself to the point where they come knocking on your door? Tina Turner's been over there. Um, Back in the day, Malcolm X went there. Kwame Nkrumah really started the whole thing, and he said he wanted African Americans to come over. And Kwame Nkrumah came over here and studied. Maya Angelou went over. Nikki Giovanni, rest her soul, went over. I like some of the other comments people were saying. What is your problem? Are you a Ghanaian? No, stay in your lane. That's what I was saying. Who are you to talk about Ghana? Now, I'm not like, I don't share this particular part, but I thought it was interesting. They saying, we Ghanaians know that you hate our country. You said Ghana's president is begging for people to come. Don't America tell the world to come and visit? As I was saying earlier, like every country has some type of department of tourism. They call it something different, but every country, they know that a certain amount of their economy will be fostered, will be helped, improved, benefited by people touring, by people coming there. And they all do whatever they feel is necessary. They all take whatever steps they feel is necessary. Back in the day, America's, the whole fact of them having the Statue of Liberty, in the statement that was chiseled onto the base of it, send us your huddled masses. That's tourism. At bare minimum, it's tourism. At least back in the day, clearly MAGA don't want nobody. Keep your huddled masses. But again, so the idea, I like the pushback that people was giving because at least it lets me know that I'm not tripping. I'm like, I'm listening at the dude's video and I'm like, what? Where is the smoke coming from? So, again, other people, somebody said, I don't blame you, O'Shea. I blame the ex-president of Ghana for opening up the country for ridicule by YouTube hustlers like yourself. Again, because you got these people, really, it's like low-hanging fruit, and they just trying to, what really works is when you speak to the base instincts of people. So what was that thing Michelle Obama has said? When they go low, we go high. Now, I ain't necessarily in agreement with that, but clearly, when we go low, in comes the dough. And that's what it's really about. His entire speech was rooted in jealousy. And so somebody else said, jealousy and fake news. There is a Black American Association in Ghana. It's been there for over 40 years. They've been working with people for over 40 years. They've been working with government officials. So that's beyond the current president, the most recent president, the president before him. For over 40 years, they've been working to get as many Africans in the Americas, from Canada at the top all the way down to the bottom of South America, to come home, to come visit, to work with them, to get their citizenship. You got the Office of Diaspora Affairs, and it's supposedly it's managed by diasporans. So again, if you have a government agency whose primary goal is to increase awareness and increase tourism and increase citizenship, and they are being housed or managed. The people who work there are people who are directly associated with the United States. So they would have their own personal connection and their own personal awareness. Like, if you're from England, if you're from Canada, if you're from Brazil, you probably still know, but you could very well not know who Dr. Umar is, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. You could just know, but you would know if you're from America and you're into this whole thing about Africa, this whole thing about being Pan Africanism, then you would know who he is. And if you are a sound and reasonable person, again, even if you are suspicious of the school, and there isn't anything wrong with being suspicious of the school, you would be a fool if you're going to ignore everything else that he does because of the school. Even if the school turns out to be an absolute failure, and I'm not saying that I want that, I'm not wishing that upon him or the community, but even if it turned out to be an absolute failure, if you look at everything else that he has done, the just in giving the speeches and the lectures that he gives, he wakes people up. He's probably woken up more people than you. And as I mentioned in the other stream, as I mentioned, the taking kids to HBCUs, working with parents, all the stuff that he does, and you want everybody to walk away thinking he's nothing but a con artist. I'm glad that people jumped on your page and were calling you out about it. Many people go through the Office of Diaspora Affairs, the Black American Association for Ghana to get their citizenship. Many people have gone to Dr. Obadeli Cambone to get their citizenship. All of these agencies are working with the government. And when they find it necessary or when they find it appropriate, they make recommendations for people to get their citizenship in a streamlined process, in a fast track manner. So when you set yourself up to just simply take shots at somebody, it's again one of the whole basis for me personally. I'm online. I'm not, I don't, and I don't, you can't say, well, you taking shots too. I'm not taking shots. I'm trying to have a conversation. I'm trying to have a dialogue, a monologue on my own, but you can interact with me. So I'm trying to have a dialogue about what we as a group, what we as a people are doing. And I call my show The Proper Perspective because I want to bring down the, I want to turn down the fever pitch. Let's lower the volume a little bit and try to reason on some of these issues. So you have a person who is doing good in the community, but they're not perfect. And rather than support them, rather than talk positively about them, rather than ignore them altogether, you just want to pull them down. And you want to take shots at an entire country. That's the kind of people Harriet Tubman would have shot. That's the kind of people Kwame Nkrumah said Be careful around them. That's the kind of people Marcus Garvey said, be careful around them. I mean, Marcus Garvey said, I'm not trying to take everybody back to Africa anyhow. Quite an extensive number of people are good for nothing in America, are good for nothing in Jamaica, are good for nothing in Canada. If you were good for nothing over there, you're going to be good for nothing over there, somewhere else. The goal has never been for every last single African in the diaspora to go home. That's not even how it works. That's not realistic. Nobody's asking for that. The call has been made. And if you feel the call, then you go. If you don't feel the call, you don't crap on people. If you don't feel the call, you don't go. The people who feel the call don't crap on you for not going. They just go and live their life and do their thing. So why would you stand in place and crap on somebody else for going? It's not a proper perspective. That's what I'm talking about. If you can't cheer on the next person in on the path that they're taking, okay, you ain't got to be their cheerleader, but you ain't got to be their hater either. And that's what I'm saying. People who deliberately, purposely hate for no reason and spread lies within their hate, if you got a reason to hate, make your reason known and let it be based in facts. If you have factual things to hate on, then hey, I stand aside again. But if you don't, if you can't come correct, don't come at all. Don't spit out false information. That's the last thing anybody needs. When you do that, you start to sound like an agent. When you do that, you start to sound like division is your goal. That's the problem with FBA and ADOS. Ain't nobody mad at them for wanting to ensure their lineage is maintained. The problem is how you do it. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So if all you're gonna do is say is speak negatively, we got names for that. That's what agents do. Now, whether you be an agent of chaos, your own of your own making, or you be an agent of COINTELPRO, CIA, FBI, of their own making, remains to be seen. But running around here acting like you gonna be the Judas to everybody's Jesus, yeah, I got issues with that. I'm just one black man, like Q-Tip said, in a mighty big white hand. So again, this video is really just to like congratulate the people that challenged Oshay Jackson in his video. And that's not to say that I think everything that's working is working in perfect order. I don't. There's plenty of things that's not working in inappropriate order, but that's true of all countries. If everything was perfect in America, nobody would leave. But there are people leaving. It's not just an African American thing. African Americans are leaving for certain reasons, and those reasons are different, could be different, should be different than what other Americans are leaving for. There are Americans who leave just because they want to live somewhere else. There are Americans who leave this country just because they want to experience another culture. They truly love being in America, They don't feel unsafe in America, but they still want to live somewhere else to experience another culture. There are Americans who leave just because they've worked here all their life. Now they're retired and they want to live on a beach somewhere until they are old, gray, and gone. So there's plenty of reasons. There's many reasons to leave this country. Some people leave and come back. Some people leave and come back of their own accord. Some people leave and come back because they had no choice. But there's so many different reasons to leave. And nobody challenges those other people. If you're a white and you reach retirement age and now you want to go live in Acapulco, nobody challenges you and calls into question your patriotism or your morals. They don't nobody looks at Acapulco and say, what are they getting out of it? And they just trying to use you. If you decide you want to up and go and you want to go live in Paris, nobody lays nobody lays the accusations at the feet of the French. Maybe they should, but they don't. France is taking advantage of you. But soon as you say you want to move to Africa, ah, everybody got a problem. Not everybody. Certain people got problems. And there's always people who then when you start looking into them, their own background is questionable. Or if their background is not questionable, the way in which they address their problems is questionable. So again, I'm just saying there are plenty of people who have heard the call and have gone back to Africa and have moved to Africa and visit Africa and tour Africa on a whole or individually in specific countries. I myself have gone, and anybody trying to tell me, well, don't go to Ghana because they just trying to use you for your money. Every human being that works is being used for their money. If you stay in America, you're going to be used for your money. If you stay in America, you're going to continue to pay taxes. You're getting used for your money. And they're going to use your tax money however they see fit, not how you want. I can say, when you take my tax money out, my check, make sure it go to fixing up the roads in the black neighborhood. Screw you. This money going to where we say it's going. So again, this spewing forth hatred, especially when it's coming from a black person, and it's directed at another black person in a whole black country, man, something don't sound right about that. That sound like the same tactics that they used to bring down the Black Panthers and Malcolm X and to attack the Nation of Islam and to attack the Deacons of Defense and the Black Liberation Army and the people that set up the Republic of New Africa and so on and so forth. They always know how to find some black person to start attacking the positive black people that's doing something. Like I said, you ain't got to be doing everything. You ain't got to be doing everything perfect, but you doing something. But again, I'm glad that I saw so many um comments of people challenging that dude. Another brother said O'Shea is behaving just like a colonialist. Dude, just leave Ghana alone. African countries and governments are doing their best to make every African, whether they be of good or bad character, a home. If not us, then whom? Who gonna do it? Yes, there may be issues. There's plenty of issues, but it's issues everywhere. And I dare say they doing more in their efforts at trying than America is doing. How many? I mean, I'm not even gonna go there again. I felt the need to come back on because I felt like I hadn't got everything off my chest. And I wanted to say, shout out to all of the people that got on that dude's video page on YouTube and challenged him to death. Same man who said FBAs don't deserve reparations. Now he trying to talk about what a government owes African Americans. Now if that don't beat all, this guy is a joke. These are the people who bring unnecessary nonsense. They start petty rumors and slander. Yo, like I said, I'm very happy, excited, I'm thrilled, I'm pleased that so many people were challenging his video. I thought his video was poor taste. I thought it was tacky, and that's just being nice. I mean, I really think that it is standard method of operation for COINTELPRO agents. But outside of that, it's again, when you got a platform, he got a big platform. I do not. His platform is huge in and of itself. So when you take your huge platform and you start throwing darts at other black people at other huge platforms, this you know, it's a sad day in black America. It's a sad day in the black world when influencers and leaders can't get along and start attacking each other. But anyhow, I'm gonna close off this this video. Like I said, I just wanted to jump back on here and talk a little bit about the fact that there's some good-minded people who don't let the wool get pulled over their eyes. Shout out to all of y'all that challenged that brother and tune in to me again. I'm gonna holler back at you. This is Shabazz with the proper perspective, and I'm out. Peace.